Hi, everyone. It's posting everywhere, so we're going to give it just a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up and share it. I'm just sharing. If you come in, how are you? Hi, hello. I'm just trying to make sure everything's set and working. Just give us one moment as people join in. Hi, April. You made it on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Confessions and Conversations. I'm your host, your girl, Miss Mo, and we are going to dive into our first series, which is entitled In My Feelings. And I am super excited, and for some reason I got nervous, but y'all know I like to talk, those of you who know me, so I don't understand where the nerves came from. But we're going to go ahead and proceed tonight. So In My Feelings is a series where we're going to pretty much dive through our feelings, and there's some things that we'll be doing on different episodes that we may not do tonight, because I'm still testing out this one and I want to see if this is the best way to do it. If this is the best way for me to be able to connect with you all. So we're going to do a little trial and error tonight, but it's still going to be all good. We're going to have a good conversation as long as you talk back to me. Amen. And we're going to go through it. Now, what I will tell you is one thing that I realized as I was preparing for tonight's episode was that, I chose a time of 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 p.m. Central Time. I figured that's a good time for everyone. We've settled in, we've made dinner for our family, we've fed everybody, ate, probably cleaned up, put the kids at least the quiet space of giving them what they want and need, got them prepared for bed, whether they're in the bed or not. But that hopefully this is a good wind down time for everyone. But what I realized this is a really wind down time for me, because by now I'm ready to curl up in the bed, up under the covers, and I'm on my way probably on that very last phone call that's gonna wrap up so I don't fall asleep on them on the phone, and then they'll be in their feelings because I don't want to sleep on them, right? And I'm getting ready for bed. So don't be surprised if there's a new flyer floating around, and we may adjust the time a little bit, but we're going to shoot for it and go for it anyway. Because like I said, I know people still have to go to work, although I generally pack my schedule where I have a lovely 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I don't want to hold you long. So tonight's focus, because in our feelings we could talk about a lot, right? But I wanted to center the focus. And so tonight what we're going to focus on is my feelings matter, right? Right. But in that, as I was processing and going through and collecting information over the weeks and things like that. So wait, let me pause. Let me push pause. Let me go back to why we're even doing confessions and conversations, right? So I was in prayer. There had been a lot of things going on with me over the course of time. And I had been, God had given me things to do for years. And I noticed how a lot of stuff I started and stopped, right? Some things I actually completed and some things I didn't. Some things I talked about, some things I announced that we never kicked them off. We never moved in and we never got them done. So I moved to South Carolina in December. It was 2019, so just last year. It'll be 6 months this month and a few days on the 13th. And it's been a healing time. It's been a process, and facing what I feel, facing me, confronting my life and getting to know me all over. So it's been a really emotional time, but it's been worth it, right? So one of the things that in my prayer time, and I was taking everything back before God to see what was I supposed to still be working on, what had actually, was for a specific time that may have passed, or, things like that. And so as I was sitting, he gave me what was going on, what was going to be needed for now, which was a time of release, a time where we can come together and actually get out, what's going on inside of us, a safe place for that release, right? So that we can have a conversation back and forth and we can help one another. To get back into the place of being my sister's keeper, right? So as this came forward, I documented and I was like, okay, I'll get to it. We'll get ready. But there was an urgency to get moving. And the first thing I heard was in my feelings. And it was that we had so many feelings and so many emotions about different things, and we had not dealt with them. And they've just been bottling up. And sometimes they come out at some of the absolute wrong times. So that's the whole intent of this. Now, there will be times when it's just me and you guys, right? And so I call that confession time. My confessions, your confessions. And there'll be times when I'll actually have guests come on and we'll talk about things, especially dealing with in my feelings, because I've learned a lot during this time that was new to me. So it was like, hold on, so this means, and so I want to bring on some people who have more knowledge in that area, right? More understanding and wisdom that they can share with all of us during this time pertaining to our emotions and our feelings. Because the whole goal is that we're well. So there will be people that'll come on and I'll be able to interview them. And that's kind of the conversation part of the show. So I'm excited and I'm looking forward to spending time with you guys. And we're only going to do it twice a month, the first Thursday and the third Thursday. And we did it on a specific Thursday. This way you can kind of keep it in your mind, because it's not here and there. It's not sporadic. It's not whenever I feel like jumping on. It'll be the first and third, and that's going to help me stay committed to what I'm supposed to be doing as well. Amen? Amen. Let's go. So, in my feelings, tonight's focus is my feelings matter. So there was a place I was a part of at one point, and one of the things that was consistently announced was that your feelings don't matter. Always had a problem with that because I don't understand that concept. If my feelings are a part of me and God created me, then clearly my feelings have to matter. They're there for a reason. They're not just something that I have. They're actually there. So they serve a purpose. And while I understood the message that they were trying to portray in that moment, the statement itself carried more weight than it could actually handle, right? So I was sitting and I was spending time and I was thinking about feelings, because sometimes you say I'm emotional, or I'm in my feelings, or someone's going through something and we'll tell them they in their feelings. And even a lot of times we'll say things like, I feel it should be this way, or I just feel. And so even when we're saying it to that degree, what we're really saying is, I believe, or I think this. I think it should be this. I believe this is the way that this thing should go, right? And so as I was looking up some things, and I'm looking down in notes, or just some information that I found that I wanted to kind of share, because I wanted to know, we use that term, emotions and feelings interchangeably sometimes. We use feelings and believe interchangeably sometimes. So kind of what was the difference between emotions and feelings, right? So an emotion is kind of like the state or the status thereof. The feeling is kind of the body of it, right? Or the space of it. So it's kind of like fear. Fear is an emotion, right? But what you're saying is, I feel afraid. I feel frightened, right? But the emotion that you're identifying when so it's kind of like the emotion is the status that you're in, right? It's where you are. It's the headspace or mental space you're in at that time. The feeling is actually how you explain what's going on inside of you, if that makes sense. I hope that helps somebody, because it really helped me, because I was like, well, when you really think about it. And so, like, if you're, for instance, like I said, you're surprised. What you're saying when you're surprised is, I wasn't ready. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't prepared for that. This caught me off guard. Whether it's a good surprise or a bad surprise, the emotion is that you're surprised. But what you're feeling is how you explain what's going on inside of you, right? And so even as I sat with that today, one of the things that also came to mind was our soul. So our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. So the mind is the place that houses your thoughts. It's also the what's the word I'm looking for? The control or command center for our body. How you move, and to tell it to do this, and it dictates, and it sends travels through the neural system. Now, don't listen. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. Just roll with me. So what it does is it sends signals throughout the body, and it tells the body what to do and how to move and how to respond, right? So also connected to our mind, which is, a portion of our soul, is our will. Our will is our desire. This is what we want to do, right? This is the thing that when you say, I feel led, this is my will. This is what I'm willing to do, right? And so then you have your emotions. Your emotions, again, it houses your feelings. It dictates how you're feeling. And so the thing with feelings, and even with the statement that said it didn't matter, there's a time where what you feel and what has to be done supersedes what you're feeling. So it's not that your feelings don't matter. It means that they just cannot lead in this particular moment for this particular situation, right? So for instance, and I was talking to somebody about this, and then I talked to them earlier, so I told them I was going to use this as an example. So there was a task that someone had to do, which led to the outcome of something they had been working on for a long period of time, right? And so the big moment is before you, and you have to get something done, but you're in your feelings about so many different things. And so it's affecting you from getting done what needs to be done to accomplish a goal that you've been working on, right? And so in speaking to them, it was the thing of not telling them your feelings don't matter. Not telling them that what you're emotional about doesn't matter. You have to deal with those things. But right now, you need to put those things in a little old box, put them to the side so that you can focus on the task at hand. One strong emotion is anger, right? When people are angry, sometimes it's hard for you to hear wisdom. It's hard for you to hear instructions, right? And sometimes when you're dealing with a person and they're angry, you have to, because there's different levels of anger, right? Sometimes you can still hear and, you're rational while angry. And sometimes you're just so far gone that I don't care what is being said. You're not thinking about the consequences. You're not thinking about the aftermath. You don't care about none of that. In that moment, anger has completely taking control. And so when you encounter a person who's angry and they're at that point, sometimes giving them wisdom or telling them what to do and what not to do may not go over somewhere so well. It may just add fuel to that fire, right? But what you're saying is really true. So you have to be able to assess where they are. And sometimes the only thing you can do is try to stand as try to intervene to prevent them from causing harm to themselves and from causing harm to others, because what they need to hear, they're not even in a position in that moment to receive what you're saying. So it's falling on deaf ears. Now later on, they may come back to that, but in that moment, you can't get mad because they're not trying to hear you. Because again, you have to remember they're already somewhere else, and this is why we have to be careful in our anger and sometimes recognize when the situation is about to take you there, and you know how far you can go. When you're angry, you have to remove yourself because you don't have. It will cost you too much to allow yourself to fully engage in that emotion, in that feeling, right? To be in that state, to be angry and unrestrained could cause major problems and damage to something else you're working on, right? And so this is why it's good to have people around you that can kind of put that fire out. Whether they shift the focus, pull you out of the situation, or whatever. If they got to fight you to keep you safe, they own it, right? This is where your good homegirls and homeboys come in, right? Or good family members or friends that you're connected to. People that will help you preserve what it is that you're supposed to be working on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let me drink some water. So you have to be able to assess where they are, so on and so forth, and realize that depending on the feeling or the state that people are in when you're giving them information that is beneficial to them and it's information that they need, sometimes where they are, they can't receive what you're saying, and they may very well come around to that on the end of the consequences. But even in that moment, and I know this isn't about a feeling, it's just a piece of information I'm gonna throw out here. In that moment, when they come to their senses or they run into the consequences that you were trying to help them prevent, this is not the time for you to be like, I told you so. Because then what you need to do, if that's what you feel like saying and doing, then you need to question your motives for even trying to get them that information. Were you trying to be right in the situation, or were you trying to preserve their space, their life, their health, their well-being, or whatever it is that's connected to them? So we have to be careful when we're encountering different emotions. It is what it is. And so, as I stated, so let me go back to the example that I had given you guys. So even though I told them that they had to work, they have to put those feelings to the side and go ahead and do what it is that you need to do, get it done so that you can accomplish the goal, so that you don't throw away everything you've worked for, right? Because something has bothered you. So and oftentimes, and I'm like, and even after you finish that and you accomplish the goal, celebrate, because that's another thing. We must celebrate even our small wins, our small steps, our small achievements, because they keep us encouraged on the journey. Because if you working towards something big, there are going to be times when it just does not work, or there's setbacks, or there's disappointments, and all of these different things. So those celebrations of small accomplishments keep your faith stirred and activated, so that you can continue on when you've run into disappointments or roadblocks or whatever, right? So anyway, but you have to be careful, because even though you put those things on hold, you got to go back. You have to go back and address those things, because if they remain in that box and they remain on hold, then every time you run into situations and you keep putting more stuff in that box, you're never addressing what's in that box. So now the thing is getting bigger, and soon it's going to exceed the capacity of that box to contain it. And what will then happen is this thing blows up at the worst moment of your life and can cost you something whole other different. So it is important that you realize that your feelings matter. Why do your feelings matter? Not just because you have them, not just because they're cute, but our feelings are indicators that we've received an impact that has registered within our soul. Keep in mind that I told you our soul is our mind, our will, and our emotions. If our feelings are connected to our emotions, then whatever we're feeling is somehow connected and impacting our soul. And remember, this is what God is concerned about. He's concerned about the soul of a man, right? And so this is where it comes in of being mindful and careful of what you allow in your space. And this is why people be like, I ain't really too keen on your energy. I ain't really feeling you. I don't really know. And you kind of step back. Or when you're in a situation, it's okay for you to remove yourself from a situation if it starts to feel hazardous to your well-being. And by your well-being, I mean your mental well-being. I mean your physical well-being. I mean your financial well-being. I mean the well-being of the accomplishment of your goals. If it's going to cause harm and damage, and it was not ordained by God to be a part of your life, then you need to go ahead. Don't feel bad about cutting it off and remove yourself, even if it's a temporary removal. Right? Because when things impact you, they're impacting your soul. Your soul determines how you move. It's kind of like, I'm feeling this type of way, right? Well, now because I'm feeling this way, that's triggering a certain thought process. And now that I'm thinking in a certain way, now that's triggering my will. So now I'm starting to think about wanting or desiring to do things that may not be in my best interest in the long run, right? And so this is why it is important that you pay attention to your feelings, that you pay attention to your emotions, because they're warning signs that there's been a breach. They're warning signs that there's been an impact, whether it's a good impact or a bad impact. And if it's a good one, then pay attention, because what that's teaching you is teaching you the things that you like. It's teaching you the things that you enjoy. It's teaching you the things that you desire. It's how you learn about who you are. And another reason why that's really important for us is because we encounter, especially with social media, we encounter everybody's opinions, we encounter everybody's emotions, we encounter everybody's feelings, we encounter everybody's beliefs, and everybody's telling you what you should and should not do. Right? And if you're not careful, it becomes hard for you to even determine how you feel, because you're so busy processing everybody else's emotions, everybody else's feelings, everybody else's thought process, and that you've forgotten how you even feel, right? I remember some time back, I was working on something and it came to me crystal clear, and I realized I am truly a really simple girl. I like nice things. Don't know where that came from, but I like nice things, but I'm a simple girl. And one of the reasons why I have been struggling for so long is because I was fighting to live a life that was complicated. It was complicated because it wasn't even what I wanted. It was what I thought I should want. You know, they give you this thing they call the American dream. You need a husband, 2.5 kids, 2 cars, a dog, and a white picket fence. And to be truthfully honest with you, what's on the other side of that white picket fence is grass that got to be trimmed and got to be cut. You got flowers that got to be maintained. And the inside of that house, you got floors and windows. And if you got OCD like me, all it is a whole lot of square feet that requires your attention and your responsibility, right? But here you are struggling because you're trying to make this dream your reality when it's not even what you really want. And so when I realized that, I had to step back and take a moment and be like, well, girl, what do you really like? And then that's when I got to the point where I realized I didn't really like me. But I stopped liking me because somehow I had became a version of everybody else's thoughts, everybody else's opinions, everybody else's expectations. And I was listening to a message today, and one of the things that it was a question that she asked, and she said, I wonder how much of you've missed out on becoming somebody else's or everybody else's expectations. And I say, now listen here, Linda, because you can end the whole conversation right there. And it was this thing of really realizing, how much have I picked up? How much have I desired? How much of my focus frame or vision board for other people, how much of my focus frame is really comprised of what I want and or what God wants? How much is what somebody else told me, right? I was having a conversation with my apostle. She was checking in with all of the members, and she was saying, like, who we was talking about, the Martin and Malcolm of today, so on and so forth. She's like, who's to say that that's not you? Who's to say that that's not me? And I was like, I don't want it. The pressure of it, even to, like, we're so critical of one another that we've created these narratives of how we have to show up to be received, right? Now, presentation does matter. But there were times when I heard to say something or to share some information, but based on where I was in that moment, my look or my mindset, or even the status of what I was doing or where I was, didn't seem like it would meet the standard of where it needed to be to go ahead and put it out there. Because we'll watch something, like somebody probably gonna have something to say. I think it's on this side. With my little hair, I talked about that in the other one. It does its own thing. Yes, this is a wig. It is not mine. However, you put on things or you do things to get yourself packaged and presented so that how you're before the people doesn't interfere with the message getting out. Because I feel like this is how I need to be in order for you to get what it is that I need to get to you, right? So I'll do these things because it's going to prayerfully remove distractions so that you can just hear the word. But when you really dig into that thing, it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And there's times when I told God I'm good on ministry, on serving, on all that. I don't feel like doing it. And in that aspect, it's kind of that thing of, but this is why you're here. So in that moment, your feelings about it really don't matter because you already told me yes, no matter what, right? So that feeling that's against him It's kind of one of them that's null and void. So in that instance, it's like, so now what? Because you still need to get up and do it, right? I went back and forth about going live today because of everything that was going on, and I just knew we were so deep in our feelings about it, and rightfully so. We were angry, we were pissed, we were overwhelmed, we were super emotional, we were disgusted, we were disappointed, we were afraid, we were brave, we were courageous, we were everywhere and all over the place, right? And you have to preserve, because I felt like I didn't have anything to give. Not that I didn't have anything to say, but I was taking in so much of other people's feelings and emotions on top of my own. It was like I couldn't breathe in the midst of it. I even sat in my chair and I started having knots in my stomach, and they were churning and pulling as I was taking in information. And it was like, hold on, I don't feel good. I got to take care of me. All of this is going on is not right. However, in order for me to help fight this fight, I got to be okay. I got to be sane, right? And so I had to check in on me, regardless as to whether or not I was getting phone calls, text messages like, hey, Mo, how you doing? Don't even matter. I'm going to check on me, right? And if I need to speak to somebody, then I'm going to reach out. And if I don't get an answer here, I'm going to reach again. Why? Because I am feeling like I am not okay. And you have to be honest with what you're feeling. Quit lying when people ask you how you're doing. And you're like, oh, I'm good. No, you're not. No, you're not. But then you don't feel like you can trust people because you've been wronged, or people have taken information that you've given them and they've used it against you. So now you really don't trust. You got trust issues, and rightfully so. But here's the thing, you still got to deal with that. And if you're in a place where you're not okay, then you need to find someone that you do feel safe talking to. I don't know where this push or strong urge or desire for making sure we're taking care of ourselves mentally came from. But when you think of all of the mental disorders or mental illnesses that are out here that we don't even fully understand how they operate, we don't even really know how to identify them, but they lead our emotions. Because like I think one of them is called like a manic depression or something like that, right? And I think they have really, really bad loads or something. I could be mixing it with another one. I don't know. But I think eventually I'm going to have to do a little bit of study on these, because it's really been before me about us really being healthy mentally, right? And, well, I need to be healthy physically too. We're going to work on that. We're in the process, but it don't look like I'm making the progress. But I am in the process, even though I don't see the progress of that. But anyway, but we have to be honest about where we are. You do not have time in this time to be ashamed of needing help, right? They have more counselors popping up, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. I don't know the full difference between them all, but I'm going to have somebody on during one of these sessions to kind of help us with that, so you kind of know which one to go to, which one you need. And I want to know so that as people reach out to me for counsel or things like that, or just to chat as a girlfriend, I want to be able to know who I need to refer them to, whether you need to see this type of doctor or that type of doctor. And I need you to understand that seeing one of them does not mean you're crazy. And even if you are crazy, so what? Go get the help you need so that you won't be crazy for long, right? Amen. But I want us to know, give yourself as well as others the permission and the space to unpack their feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, to process how we feel about a situation, how we feel about an experience. And I need you to understand that that's how you remain healthy emotionally, right? That's how you remain healthy mentally. Now, there's some other work that goes into that, but this is a good step. Unpack that encounter and that experience. Determine how you feel about it. You may not even be able to address it right away. You may need to take some time, just you and you alone, and unpack that experience. Determine how you feel about it. Determine how that made you feel. Determine the thoughts that it came with. Address your thoughts that rose up as a result of it, right? And then when you're calm, when you're in a good space, Now let's go have a conversation and let me tell you how that made me feel. And let me tell you that going forward, I don't want to be in that position again. So if this is something that you can't prevent from moving in this way again, where you know this is a part of your behavior and a pattern and a habit that you consistently do, then okay, thank you for letting me know now so that I can preserve my health, my sanity, my peace, my good energy, and I don't have to catch a case. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sever this. I love you. I'll see you on the field. I don't have no ill will towards you. However, where you are and where I am, it is not a good connection right now, right? And that's okay. We didn't fall out. We just came to a consensus that this connection is not healthy. Now, you can call me later if you need me, and if I'm able to assist, I'm going to do that, right? But what I know is an ongoing, constant, and consistent connection we can't handle. There's going to be some short circuit that's going to happen, and it is not going to be good. I got a strong feeling about that, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this while we're still healthy. Do this while we're still in a good place, right? Let me see if there was something else that I needed to share in that, because I took notes, y'all. That was good. I was researching and all of these good things. I think we covered most of it. Oh, another thing, even as we were talking earlier, and I mentioned how we use anger in that particular instance, when it was like sometimes when people are angry, you can't hear wisdom when it's crying out. You can't hear what's a better way. You can't hear because that anger is so loud, it is drowning out everything else, right? And it's like, and how dangerous that can be. So it's like you have to sort through your emotions and feelings before they can add to the discussion of decision making, right? So although your emotions and your feelings are indicators, they're indicators of an impact, be it a good impact or a bad impact. They're indicators. And before those indicators can come sit at the discussion table, you have to make sure that you've dealt with them and put them in a position where they're healthy pieces of the conversation, where it's only alerting you to the fact of this is not something we like. How do we move going forward to make sure that we don't run into this again? That's when that feeling is safe to come to the discussion table. If that feeling still got you ready to flip over the chair, the table, go bust out some car windows because you seen him, whatever, slashing tires because you know and you heard this, or whatever the case may be, if that feeling is still causing you to want to do damage, then that feeling is not ready to sit at the discussion table for decisions for moving forward, right? But it does matter, right? So again, the things we want to remember from tonight, because I'm ready to go. But the things we want to remember from tonight is that your feelings matter. They are a part and a piece of your soul. So if something is impacting you, I want you to really get that visual. I want you to really understand that when you're feeling what you're feeling, that means that thing has made it all the way to your soul. Everybody and everything should not have that much access to you, right? So even when it's indicating something, it may be indicating that you may need to put a little tougher skin there, right? You may need to put another layer of protection there. Maybe there's a breach, something is uncovered, and you need to cover that thing up so that it can't keep getting to you and keep causing these issues, these emotions, these feelings, and so on and so forth. So never ignore your feelings. Just understand whether or not you're in a position to address them or to let them lead, right? Amen. So we want to remember that our feelings matter. We want to remember that it is okay for you to step back from situations and circumstances so that you have the proper time and space safely to unpack the encounter, the exchange, the impact, the situation, the dialogue, whatever it was. You have time to unpack that. Be honest with yourself about how you felt about it. Deal with those feelings, deal with that wound, and then go back and have the conversation that says, when you did this, that hurt. When you move like this, that didn't feel good. When you were talking about this, that made me uncomfortable. And sometimes those things that we don't like or that make us uncomfortable, it's because we don't understand them. So don't just go and think because it made me feel a bad way or made me feel some type of way that they were wrong or they were bad. Maybe it's an opportunity for you to get a new understanding, right? To broaden our scope. The Bible tells us that in all our getting to get an understanding. We don't know everything. And just because something doesn't make us feel good or makes us feel bad does not necessarily mean that they or it was bad. It could just be you've just experienced something you've never experienced before. It's different. It didn't feel good because it's different. I know what to do with that because I'm not used to it. But it doesn't mean it was wrong because people can tell you some information that you really don't want to hear. And it don't make you feel good in that moment. But they weren't lying. It was the absolute truth. It was exactly what you needed to hear. But it didn't feel good because they didn't confirm or they didn't co-sign your mess, right? So go take that thing, go process that thing, and then let it simmer and walk through it, right? So remember, we're remembering my feelings matter. Give ourselves time and space to unpack our feelings, explore our feelings, and own them as to this is where it was. And then once you put them in their proper position, you may then go back and confront a situation that may have been a little too heated at the time. Right? And even if they're not willing to rehab that discussion, you already have unpacked it. You already know where you stand with it and so on and so forth. And you can just go ahead on and move forward accordingly, whether that keeps the connection or it severs it. So the other thing we said was that, I think I just summed it up in that one. So that is pretty much what I have for you guys. If there's any questions. Now, on the next one, I'm going to have some little things where I'm going to try to bring people on because I don't know if I can do that here. So I have to figure out how to do that because I kind of want you guys to share what you're feeling. So right now, I can see your comments pop up on my screen here, and I can see what you guys are saying. So, but it's hard for me to read them and continue in what I'm doing. So, listen, I'm getting older. We got to pick one lane, and then when we finish with that lane, we'll go to the other one. So now I can go through and read your comments. It looks like you guys were kind of agreeing and things like that. So if you have something that you want to share, like what are you feeling? Like how are you? Because again, there's a lot going on right now, and I know for me, like I shared, I became really emotional to the point of physically it sitting on me. So I want to give you all that time and space if you would like to share something, and we can kind of touch and agree and pray with you. I'll definitely be in prayer for you and with you. But if you drop some comments and just kind of share like I feel like, and then I'll read those on the screen. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes because I think it may be like a 6-7 second delay here. So I'll drink some water while I wait to see if y'all comment. Hi, everybody. Let's see who's on. I see April. Hey, Lily. Hey, Bailey. Angela. Hey, girl. Hey, Destiny. How you doing? I see that little cute boy of yours. Hey, Mika. Sis, Sherry, you still in here? You got something to share? Hi, it's Tanya, girl. All right, I see y'all. Let me see if we got some comments. Hey, Bethany, if you're still hanging out. Hey, Miss Parker. Hey, Liz. Okay, I don't see any. I feel like for me to read. I guess y'all don't feel like being a part of the conversation tonight, which is totally fine. Like I said, I'm going to work on some ways that you can kind of submit those so that I can read them. Or I may just go live from 2 different devices next time so that I can kind of bring people on and be able to share. But I think if I bring you on Facebook, you wouldn't be able to see it on YouTube. Yeah, Destiny, me too. Destiny says that, hold on, I think I can bring your comment on screen. Oop. Does it go up there? Yep. She says it has, it has been so overwhelming. I've had to go numb from everything coming in. Liz, we're coming and saying like if there's anything you feel like you even if this series is about in my feelings. So it's kind of like I just feel like so this is an opportunity to kind of share what you're feeling. Because even with everything going on, I just wanted to give people a little bit of space to kind of share their thoughts and feelings and emotions and stuff. Yes, April. We had what? Wait, what we got to unpack? When you say we, you mean we as in everybody, or we as in me and you, or what you talking about, girl? Let me see if stuff going on Facebook that I can't see. Okay, well, like I said, I don't want to hold you. Yeah, boys, three black kings, right? Right, and just teaching them and trying to steer them in the right direction and keeping them safe. Stay prayed up, sis. I'll definitely be praying for you and your boys and that little angel you got, the little princess of the house. But I see you doing your thing, making moves and handling your business. Congrats. I salute you. I salute all of you mothers out here. It has been one. 2020 came in like boom. I'm kicking in a door like he gave us a summary of some decades and smashed it all in together. But I just believe we're going to get through it because in the midst of everything that's been going on, I have still seen God move. I still seen God do miracles. I still seen God do amazing things. I still seen God answer prayers. I've seen God. I just see God, right? And so it's Liz, I told you to leave my baby alone. Leave that girl alone. She just as sweet as she want to be. I think she only do that to you because you be messing with her when the camera don't roll. Then when she come and she retaliate, that's when you want to record and put her on blast like she just be being bad. That be you. And she just the cutest she want to be. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight. I want to keep these kind of casual like this. So even when I bring guests on, and just interact. And even if there was something that was said tonight that you have questions about or something that you want to hear about when it comes to feelings or something you want me to explain more on the next episode, go ahead and inbox me or something like that. And I'll go ahead and get started on that and get prepared so I can make sure we can bring it up in the next one. And like I said, I have some other things that I want to do because I want to bring you guys on and do some little things to kind of do icebreakers and connection points and things like that. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Stay with me. I'm getting some better lighting. I don't know if it shows up the same way everywhere else that it does here, but we're going to have a good time, y'all. I promise you. I'm going to bring you guys some good guests, bring on some good help, ask some questions, and get some answers from professionals and stuff like that because it's needed. Liz says, man, it's sad for some people, but from the things I went through at the ending of 2019, I feel like 2020 has really been a blessing for me. Listen, sis, that's a whole mood. When I tell you I've been in a time of healing, and there were areas in me that I needed to heal from that were leading my decisions, leading how I moved, leading how I trusted, and so many things like that. And I had no idea. Like, I just recently, my apostle referred me to this book. I told you guys, those of you that's on my newsletter distribution list, I shared with you the book in the newsletter. But as I was going through the book, I went through it in parts, and it was like God and I were walking through corridors of my past, of my life that I had forgot about. Like, and sometimes, and that's another thing, like sometimes we'll experience something, and because we move on or we keep moving, we feel like I'm over it. but you're really not because you haven't unpacked it. So that thing is still really sitting there and it's dictating and determining. I had this little moment, and I shared the pictures on my on Lift the Sister Up Ministries page, and it was a picture that I recently took, and then it was a picture of me when I was a little girl, maybe about 6 or 7 or something like that, and then it was my baby picture. Each one of those 3 pictures, yes, we do, girl. Each one of those 3 pictures spoke to a different part of me, right? And they reminded me of something different. And I literally, as I was sitting there looking at them and taking them in, I pulled out my phone and I recorded a conversation that I had with each one of those girls. And I had to tell the littlest one, like, she came in bright-eyed and looking towards the future, like, I'm here. She was expecting, right? And the little girl, like, even in the picture, they captured me like I was looking for something. So that represented that part of me that was like, I'm still looking, I'm still waiting, I'm still expecting, right? And I'm being good and I'm expecting. Well, that older picture of me, the more recent picture of me, it was kind of like, yo, I'm still hanging in here. I'm waiting. But, and I had to talk to each one of them and let each one of them know, thank you. I appreciate you. I got us. We gonna get there. I promise. God got me. I got us. Let's go. Right. And it was a really emotional conversation that I had with these 3 because I had to let the little one know, like, listen, you've been running things for a little while, but I'm gonna take it from here. I got you. I understand what you saw. I understand what you were expecting. I understand what you've been through, but I got us. Right. Because now we got to make some big girl decisions. And so a lot of those things that you had forgot about, even though they weren't at the forefront of your mind, they were still in that box affecting how you were moving. And this is why you don't trust, because remember when? This is why you don't like this, because you had this experience here. And so all of these things, without you realizing, are dictating and determining how you move, how you connect, what you do, what you can possess, and to a lot of degree, in a lot of instances, rather, they're limiting how far you can really go. So, this is why it's important that you deal with those emotions, because just because you've moved beyond the physical or the actual experience doesn't mean you've gotten past it. Doesn't mean you've gotten over it, right? It just means it's stored away, waiting on the perfect opportunity to just come out and blow up your situation, right? So this is why it is important at some point to deal with your feelings, to confront certain situations, past situations that were never dealt with, so that you can get the healing that you need, so you can be the best version of you. Let me tell you something. I was never that one to really have myself as screensavers. Screensavers was cute pictures. It was gold stuff I wanted to do. But that recent picture became my screensaver. And it wasn't from a vain space or anything. But every time I pick up my phone and I see that picture, I have a conversation with her. I'll be like, girl, I love you. You don't. And it's not a cocky thing. It's not a conceited thing. It's a thing of, I finally love the girl looking back in the mirror. I had been through so many things that fear had crept up in every area. Listen, I had even got to a point where I was afraid to try doing a new style with my hair. Like, I wanted to braid it. Back in the day, buying some weave, some glue, whatever, making it do, because I just looked at something and think this is how you do it. That was me. Eventually, I got to the point where I don't even want to try to braid my hair because I'm scared I'm going to mess it up. It's not going to come out right. I'm not going, it's not going to, I'm going to waste my money I'm going to waste this hair. So that's the ultimate waste of money. And I don't have any money to waste, right? And it was this thing of like, I would look in the mirror every day and be like, who is this chick? I don't know you. You look nothing like the same girl that used to get cut off by dudes in bad neighborhoods. And I'm finna ride down this block following you so that I can roll up on the side of you and clean go off on you and not be concerned about what your response gonna be. So you go from being that chick, which you need to get out of that lifestyle because my road rage was out of control. But you go from being her to being afraid to live. How did we get here? How come I cannot seem to get rid of this chick that's looking back at me in the mirror? I don't like you. I don't know where you came from. I'm sick of dealing with you. I want me back, right? And so this move, this particular time, this is what God has been doing. He's been taking me back to a place of me. We've been healing one situation at a time. We've been addressing feelings, emotions, thoughts, beliefs, changing all of that. And finally, I can look and be, hey girl, you cute. Hey girl, I like you. You know what, you dope. I love how y'all handled that. Like, I love how you moved in that thing, right? So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go even longer. I told y'all I was gonna let y'all go like almost 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes or so ago, or whatever. But anyway, I just wanted to chime in and go with that. And thank you for those who have come in and left your questions or your responses so that we can kind of talk about them a little bit more. So again, don't stop now. Send me an email, send me an inbox, and I'll be sure to dive into it in our next session, right? We're going to do some, like I said, some different things. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. I hope some information was shared that you'd like. Here, Liz, don't start nothing. I told you I'm trying to end this live and you about to get it started again. Listen, even with that, there's this thing that someone had taught me. I don't remember who shared it with me, but there was 3 different places. It's a place of just enough, more than enough. And I realized that I had been in a place of just enough and was identifying it or feeling towards it as if it was not enough, right? And I got to a point where I saw myself in each one of those spaces, and I'm like, come on, God, I done mastered not enough. I mastered being in that place where it was like, okay, we just ate the last bit of food in the house. We just used the last bit of toiletries in the house. What we gonna do tomorrow, right? And then somebody be like, hey, God told me to send you this. Yes, dollars becomes life changing, right? Or somebody will walk up and they slide you something. Like being in that place and not having, and then being in a situation that looks real similar to it, but watching God provide consistently before you can even think about, oh, God, we need this. He done already met the need. Like, come on, man. So that not enough, then going to the space of just enough, and then there's that space of more than enough. That's that abundance. That's the place that everybody wants to live in. You have to learn how to master not enough. And because it's not about being okay with not enough. It's about understanding that even when you don't have enough, you trust God to supply all of your needs. And when you lean on him in that aspect, when you depend on him, and then he teaches you the next level of, you got justice. Now I want to see what he's teaching you at that level is how to steward what he gives you, to make sure that you're a good steward over the things that he's giving you. Can I trust you with more than enough? And if I give you more than enough, are you gonna lose your end up back in that situation of not having enough? And not because it's where you're supposed to be, but simply because it's what you put, it's where you put yourself back. So let me get off of this live before y'all can be a whole nother hour and got it in me. But I love you all. Again, I hope you all have received on the pages. So those of you who've been a little late, or those who may have dropped off, you can go back and watch the replay. It will also be on my YouTube page. Be sure to go there and subscribe and turn on the little bell notification so every time I go live you'll know, because I think sometimes on Facebook y'all get so many notifications you don't really know, and it gets lost in the sauce and you get tired of hearing that one, so you don't go to it. But either way, make sure you're connected and you're following. Love you too, sis. Stay connected. And remember, we're not meeting. I won't be going live next Thursday. It's the following Thursday. It's the first Thursday and the third Thursday. So the next time I'll be going live with it is June 18th. Okay? I love you all. Thank you all for spending time with me. And until next time, bless you. Keep the kingdom. Stay safe. Be wise. And take good care of you. Everybody's depending on you. Everybody's pulling from you. Make sure you're checking in on yourself. And if you get overwhelmed and you get to that place where you feel numb, reach out to somebody. And I'm just gonna tell you, if you reach out to me and we both numb or we both overwhelmed, then I'm gonna find somebody for us both to reach out to, or we gonna pray through it together. Amen. Amen. I love you all, guys, and good night.